This podcast is called After Losing Bruce. The last one was losing Bruce and going through losing your partner is really hard. I'm Kerry Hort Rowe, and these podcasts of Knowing the Woman in the Mirror is about me, but you can also pull the layers back of you. After losing my husband, I didn't really know where to go or what to do. How do I move on without him, as he was my rock? How do I raise the children, having to be mum and dad? It gave me a whole new perspective of single parents out there, whether you're a single father or a single mother. Having to raise the children to be consistent as you were when you had both parents. It's so easy to fall into the trap of going, yeah, whatever, and not being consistent. And it was really hard. That was one aspect of it, is the parenting side. Learning to be mum and dad, learning to be tough and sensitive and soft at the same time, trying not to get angry at the simplest little things where you wouldn't have before. The parenting really changed a lot because I had to try and see things from a different area. And from that different area was realizing that they were hurting also. They had lost their father, this amazing man who was an amazing father. They had lost him. Who do they go and talk to? Who is going to give them that fatherly advice? The boys, who's going to help them with the cars? The girls, who is they going to talk to when they meet a guy? There are some things that a male can feel that a female can't. There are some things that a female can feel but a male can't, or vice versa. There are so many things of where it's really hard to know what to do. There's no manual to tell you how to deal with grief, how to deal with children who have lost a partner, a parent. How do you deal with it yourself? And I found that I was having to be counsellor, which we all are anyway, but more so. How to be able to cope in so many different ways. In the same time, how am I healing myself? I found that I needed my friends more than ever. The friends that I thought would be there weren't, and the friends that I wasn't sure would be there were. When you go through something that is really hard, after a while you try your best not to talk about it to your friends all the time, otherwise it sounds like a broken record. However, we need to talk about our loved one that has left us. We want to keep their memory alive. We want them back. We're hoping that one day they'll knock on the door and they will be there. But reality kicks in and realizing that they're never going to come back at all. Who do we lean on? Who do we talk to? Who is going to hold us when we cry? Who is going to be there to say, you've done a really good job, Kerry? Or, Kerry, you shouldn't have done that. These are the things that I found looking back was really hard. There are a couple of really good friends that were there no matter what. Whether I was crying or yelling or whatever it is that I was doing, they were there for me. They realised that what I was going through was not normal, but how I was acting was not normal. I value my friends very much, and I would do anything for them because I know that in a heartbeat they'll be there for me. After Bruce, it was also dealing with the accountants, the tax department, Centrelink, having to sell units that we had because I couldn't afford to keep them anymore, selling cars, I couldn't have them, selling the property because we had no life insurance. Well, we did years ago, but the company we're with went under, and we just were going to research. In the meantime, he was diagnosed. So with not having the backing of financially, I had to sell everything. Selling a property, selling cars, selling the units, and I was able to come out with a bit of money. Working out what to do and to moving forward and starting again was really hard. I lost Bruce when I was 41, and then moving on around 42 and a half to 43. You don't ever expect to do that. When we signed up to get married years ago, we assumed that we'd be together forever. We'd have our children and we would raise them and we would grow old together. And everything that we had worked really hard for, we would benefit from. That we'd be able to travel and go and do the things that you want to when you retire. But no one asked me what I wanted in life. No one told me that this is what's going to happen to you. No one gave me a guideline. However, looking back, I'm glad I didn't have those, because you would always live your life on the edge of, is today going to be the day? So having to manage all of those by myself was really hard. Yes, I could go and talk to a few people, but it wasn't the same as having your partner there. But I managed it. I moved on. I bought a block of land and I own a build, as my husband was a builder. So I own a built a new home. It was lovely. It was great. I was really happy with it. And there were some days where I'd get angry and go, oh, if you hadn't have died, I wouldn't have been doing this. But I remembered all the things that he had taught me, and I built a really beautiful home. I'd walk around and say, you'd be so proud of what I've done, moving on, seeing this home. In the meantime, I had met a man. He had his house and I had mine. And in this part of it, of meeting someone, is that the children were teenagers. And it's hard for them to see their other parent move on. I did say to them, if someone comes along that really isn't right for me, you must say something. But you can't not like them just because they're not dad. I know that was hard advice to give, but it was something that I needed to let them know, because even though I was their mother, I'm still a woman. I'm still young enough to move on. Even though I was still looking for Bruce, I would have Bruce back in a heartbeat. But that wasn't going to happen. And I met a wonderful man who made me laugh. He just took me out of reality. And it's been great. It's been wonderful. So I stayed in this home for a good 7 years. Something else, another tragedy had happened that wasn't fatal, thank goodness. But I'll tell you that in the next episode. But in this is that we kept dating. He had his house, I had my house, and I was raising the children. I was becoming me again. The me of learning to live without Bruce. The me that had to learn to make all the decisions for myself. The me that had learnt to be mum and dad, the firm parent and the nurturing parent. The learning of how these people become single parents. For whatever circumstance, it doesn't really matter. But when you're a single parent, it's really hard. And I never understood that before. I never pretended to understand it. But now I was in the position where I did understand it. And I take my hat off to all of those who have raised children on your own. Whether you're a father bringing up children or whether you're a mother bringing up children, I admire you. And I think you are doing, and don't let anyone tell you you're not doing a good job. as long as you're putting those children first and yourself, looking after yourself at the same time. It's a real balancing act. Learning to when to listen to them and not judgmental, or when to give them advice. To be their parent and then becoming their friend. That's one thing that Bruce and I did agree on when we were raising the children, is we were going to be their parent. And if that meant having to say the things that they don't want to hear, then that's just tough. Because you've got to be cruel to be kind. You've got to be tough. And we raised them to be great, wonderful human beings. And I'm very proud of the children that my children have grown into, or the adults they've grown into. So in all of that, I learnt a lot. I learnt how to become mum and dad. I learnt how to become the tough parent, as well as in the nurturing parent, all in one. In that, it's now almost 19 years since Bruce has died. And my children are grown. They have their own families. And I am so proud of the people that they have become. In my nurturing and parenting skills, I learnt a lot about me. When learning about the woman in the mirror, when I looked at her and I thought, well, damn woman, you are strong. You're way stronger than what you thought. And this is something that a lot of women do. We often go, we can't do that, whereas men will just get in and do it. We always second guess ourselves when we shouldn't. We need to back ourselves, and women need to back each other. Have each other's back. Tell them you're doing a great job. Don't pick up on their flaws. Pick up on their strengths. Pick up on how they are managing. You're doing a great job. I know it must be hard. I don't understand what you're going through, but keep going. One thing I've never understood is why women pull down women. We have a tough time as it is, finding our place in the world. To be able to work up against men, to be able to get the same pay rate as men when you're doing the same job. Why do we have to work harder to try and get the same pay? Why do we have to work harder to get the same recognition? Why do we have to work harder to get the position? Back each other, help each other, look after each other, and pat each other on the back and say, great job, girl. So in losing Bruce, I learnt a lot more about that. I learnt a lot more of having to tell people, I admire you. You've done a great job. I had done it before in the past, but not understood what they were really going through. Once I understood that, and I was able to relay that, a lot more people understood me, where I was coming from. They realised that I did understand loss. I did understand single parenting. I did understand having to start all over again. It's not easy. And I don't pretend it to be easy. And if you're struggling out there, go and look at yourself in the mirror. Have a look at the facts. You're tall, you're slim, you're short, you're round. You've got freckles, you're dark, you're light. Whatever you see, that is factual. And then I want you to look at you, really look at you, and go, who do I see? You're seeing someone. Are you sensitive? Are you cold when you talk to people? Do you talk too much? Do you not talk enough? Are you finding it hard to make friends? And if so, why? Have a look at yourself and see, if I was me as a parent looking back as a child, would I like the parenting I'm doing? Is there someone out there that you would like to learn from? All these little things, I want you to look in the mirror and just see how strong you are, how many great qualities you have. These are things of where we need to do as women. To be able to look at ourselves and realise that, wow, I really am amazing. We don't tell ourselves that. We don't tell ourselves, damn girl, you did a good job today. It's really important to do that. Pat yourself on the back if no one else is. Look in the mirror and go, you got it, girl. You can do this. And I'm saying this because I've had to do it. I've had to pick myself up. I've had to get out of bed when I didn't want to. Excuse me. It's hard to get up and pick yourself up. Find that friend that will give you encouragement. Find that friend that if you ring and say, I need encouragement today, and let them give it to you. When someone gives you a compliment and says, you look great today, just go, thanks, I feel good. Don't go, oh, well, today started off not so good. Don't go into that. Women do that way too much. When someone compliments you on your dress, you go, oh, this whole thing? Just say, thanks. Yes, it's one of my favourites. We have to remember to be confident ourselves. Learn to give ourselves encouragement. Look in the mirror and say, damn girl, you look great today. Go out and kill it. Kill today. Make it be absolutely fantastic. If we don't do a pep talk for ourselves, no one else will. So we have to do the encouragement. My late husband Bruce told me years ago, he said, you'd be dangerous if you had confidence. I had a lot of confidence, and he was the strength where I was able to have the confidence. After he died, that confidence died a lot, and I found it hard to give myself confidence. Now, it's a lot easier to do it. I've learnt how to, but I still need the encouragement from certain people. They help you. They're the ones who truly know you. Find that friend who knows just by looking in your eyes as to how your day's going. You don't have to say anything that everyone else would not have a clue. Find that friend that knows just by the tone of your voice that something's not right. Just by the twinkle in your eye, whether it's there or not. They're the ones that will be honest with you. They're the ones that will help you through whatever it is that you need to get through for that day. So from there, after Bruce, these were the things that I had to go through. Dealing with the Centrelink. Dealing with all of these things that were really hard. It's amazing how when you learn to pick yourself up, when you learn to be able to look after yourself, learn to be able to do all of these things, you will become a formidable person, a woman in your own right, the leader in your own story. Anyway, there are a number of other things. The tax department wasn't easy. That was really hard, but I battled through it. There was a number of men all of a sudden trying to knock on the door. I wasn't ready for it. The first one came 5 weeks after Bruce died. It came to an absolute shock to me. But I remember Bruce telling me there will be 2 particular people that will come knocking on your door. He said, women know women and men know men. And I just laughed and went, that won't happen. We know them. And he goes, trust me. He was spot on. And I had no idea. Obviously, I don't see them. And I won't have them in my life because I never thought that they would do that. Anyway, there are a number of things that you go through as a widow. Your emotions are up and down. Your family life is hard because sometimes you take things out on your kids when you shouldn't. So when it comes to you picking yourself up, help yourself. Don't beat yourself up. That's easy to do. It is always harder to lift ourselves up, which is really sad because we should be harder to pull ourselves down. So from that note, I want you to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you look great, girl. You've got this. You can get this. You can do whatever you want. You just have to believe in you. I believe in me and I believe in you. I'm Kerry Hort Rowe and my business and brain thinking, and this is Knowing the Woman in the Mirror.